to another live coaching. I'm broadcasting from Hamburg, and I want to know, where are you? Did you sail this week? Say hi in the chat. Say hi in the chat. I have not been sailing. I was in Morocco recently, and I got some good windsurfing there. And then I am going to Gran Canaria in 2 weeks, the same place where you can see the World Cup happening right now, if you're following the Windsurfing World Tour. And I am doing coaching there. So if you want to level up, go to windsurfingmasterclass.com, click apply here, and go to the Gran Canaria application, July 21st to 23rd. We have 3 more spots. There are 3 more spots before that week is full. Yeah, I'm very much looking forward to it. All right. And what else have I been working on? I've been working on the forward loop course. The forward loop course is getting done. I'm hoping to be able to launch it this coming week. It always surprised me how hard it is to make these courses. Um, it's hard. It's hard. Um, yeah. All right, let's get to the chat and then we'll get to the group. We've got Axel, he said no sailing, just a bit of wind skating. York had 3 sessions in Sweden. We got H saying, what did I make of the competition? And H is referring, obviously, to the World Cup in Gran Canaria. Yeah, I found it super interesting. I thought from what I saw that the judging was pretty good and there's some good action. And I think the results line up with a lot of what I think. Ooh, are we getting a lag? No, it's working. It's working. So I saw results that lined up with what I think is an accurate description of people's abilities. I think Philip is the best windsurfer in Poso. Brasinho is also amazing, and I think a well-deserved second. And Mark has been putting in a lot of work, and it was cool to see him get into the final. And Marino, as everyone knows, also is really doing well. So the top 4 I thought was solid. It was cool to see Ricardo get back into the game, go for some heats. And yeah, if there's anything that stood out that you thought was either really interesting or confusing or something that you want me to talk about, I love analyzing heats and competitions. So ask away, anyone. We can get into it. I can even pull up the live stream if that's what you guys want. But a specific moment would be good. I love watching. So my 2 favorite windsurfers to watch in Poso are Koster and Moritz Malk. And he had a really good run in the single. And that was really cool because he struggled to do well in the event before, even though his wave riding there is off the charts. I think he had the highest wave scores of the event. His jumping is not there, but his wave scores, his wave riding ability is just awesome. So if there's a specific moment from the event, I'm happy to get into it. Otherwise, we're just going to cover the topics here. Matt had a great session yesterday. Love it. Christoph had 3 sessions. Whoa, good week in Weddell. Awesome. Christoph, I'm really curious. How did it feel? So Christoph was on the masterclass in Morocco. How did it feel taking those lessons and bringing them to your home spot? H says he's just getting back into sailing on a 116 liter waveboard. Nice. Stefan said, few sessions here, one with Tomas. It's just saying, is wind speed and wind force the same in function of temperature? I think not. It depends on different factors. So denser air will have more force. And so it depends on the density of the air. And so colder air will generally be more dense and more forceful, but warmer air can carry more moisture, which will also make it more forceful. So in Hawaii, we have pretty forceful winds, even though it's warm, but the wind is very humid. Um, but then somewhere like in Denmark with the cold air, it does also feel very forceful, and it also has a lot of moisture in it somehow. Um, Axel says his highlights were the no-handed goiter from Koster and Mauk's wave rides. Suna says, good evening from Denmark. 2 sessions this week. Great to be back on Portac. Yeah. So Suna, I've got to ask you, uh, how does that feel? Do you feel like you've improved? Does it feel different? Uh, I think that riding your bad tack is the fastest way to get better at your good tack, but it doesn't happen. It doesn't necessarily happen immediately. You know, it can be that you come back to your good tack and you have all these expectations, and then those expectations are not met. But overall, that is the best way to improve fast. Christoph says it landed 5 forwards in a session. Nice. Love it. Ragnar had no waves, overpowered on the 4-2. That's windy. Windy. Christoph says wave riding is a work in progress. Yes, it is. Lifelong work in progress. Marius posted this. It's a article that Surf Magazine did. It's a 6-page article about our Masterclass week. So if you're a German speaker and you want to learn about some of our Masterclass experiences, the in-person ones, check this out. It's the surf that is on the stands right now. And we've got some good pictures from the crew. Here's Jorg bottom turning. There's Harold and Cedric. Here's the whole crew checking out boards, class, and look at that Jakob mid loop. Awesome. So yeah, some cool photos, good feature. I don't know what I'm wearing. I don't know whose camouflage jacket this is. It's not mine. Yeah, I don't know. Um, nice. Harold's in the chat. He said he had a session till 10 p.m. Love it. I love those late summer sessions. Yeah, so this is cool. Surf Magazine did a feature on us. Nice to see. And yeah, if you're into German language, check it out. Johan wants to know about windsurfing in Moledo, Portugal. Interesting. I don't have experience there, but it looks like we've got a few people giving advice. Love it. This is a comment that we already talked about last week. Wow, was a quiet week. All right. With that said, let's check out some of the PWA stuff. We'll talk about that for a few minutes. So here's the Masterclass schedule. We have some space, 3 spaces, July 21st to 27th in Gran Canaria. It's going to be a good time. Yeah. All right. So let's check out some of the live stream. Turn off the sound. So this is going to be the double elimination. So let's get to the later heats. That's definitely more exciting. And then I can make myself smaller. And how do we move this around? Nope, not like that. We'll move. All right. There. Something like that. Let's watch it like this. Good evening, Greg. All right. So if you guys have a moment from the event that you want to focus on, let me know. Wow, it's so windy. So windy. So this heat, we're just kind of going randomly to it. So H is saying, how much toe do you have on your outside fins and what size fins for your weight width of your board? So I'm almost always on thrusters and I ride 10 on the sides, 10 centimeters, and 18 in the back. So those 10 Ezzy K4 fins and 18 Scorcher fins. And I use on my Maui boards 2.5 degrees of towing. And then on the European boards, I'm using 2, but I probably would like 2.5 as well. It just happens that I'm used to riding 2 here. We got Arthur, Ola. All right. So what's going on here? Let's watch this on YouTube. All right. Heat break. All right. Let's move this. We can move this over. We're going to try to watch a little bit of the event and talk about it. But this is more interesting with questions. Oh, shit. I didn't mean to do that. Questions from you guys. So let me know if you have a specific question. So this is a heat break, and we're coming into the heat. Pare versus Dunkerbeck. Oh, it's so windy. This is so windy. It's really hard to see, I think, how windy this is. This is really crazy windy. This is like water flying, gusts of water flying. Yeah, so H is making a good observation here. The speed before jumping is a joke. Yeah. One of the really important things about jumping well is going fast and stable. And so something that we were doing in the masterclass in Morocco with some of the guys who were working on jumping is actually racing each other, because racing ends up being kind of analogous to what you want to be doing going up into a ramp. You want to keep your board stable and flat on the water, pushing down on your toes, scissoring your legs, which means it's kind of almost like the feeling of crossing your legs, or like squeezing the legs together as well to help control the board. And then you're pressing it down. I think a lot of the pros as well ride their harness lines farther back than where most other people are riding their harness lines, and that can help keep the nose of the board down. Wow, that was solid. That was solid. Let's look at this wave again. Oh shit, why did that happen? Let's check this out. So Dunkerbeck gets a backside air off the lip. I like to see it. And then navigates this weird ledge into this little bowling section, stomps a goiter. Can he get another turn? No, he's on the rocks. Well, it goes fully on the rocks. Shit. Mark's got a good one. So he had a good setup turn, and then 360, but off the back. Wow, look at this huge forward. That was from Dunkerbeck in the beginning. So Liam, Dunkerbeck Jr., putting in the work. Wow, look at that push loop forward from Mark. Landed. Those can hurt. My most painful crashes in windsurfing ever are when I was learning push loop forwards. Wow, so windy. This is crazy windy. Here's the replay on the push forwards. I wonder how they score that. In general, I thought the scoring was pretty good this event, but my ability to watch the event was only so so. I was watching the single as much as I could, and then today for the double, I watched a little bit. I was talking with some of the riders, actually giving them some coaching, and I watched their heats. And then otherwise, I was busy with other things. Um, so Arthur is saying that in Australia they're creating an artificial pool for surfing. Don't you think that should be nice to have perfect sight off in an artificial wave dedicated pool? I think it could be cool. I mean, what could be really cool is to build something like that in a place that naturally gets super windy. So somewhere in the desert, somewhere inland, right? In the plains of America, or I don't know, somewhere far from the coast. I think that could be pretty cool. And then we could have a windsurfing, surfing pool. But the costs are so high. The costs are so high that they barely make sense for surfing. There's not enough windsurfing demand to do a windsurfing specific wave pool. Um, wow, look at these conditions. I think wave pools are pretty cool, but I'm not. That's not my world. I have friends on Maui whose kids are trying to be pro surfers, and they'll spend a week renting out a wave pool, and they say that they learn more in that week than they would otherwise in a full year. Eric is saying they should build a concrete reef. I think the reef is pretty good in Poso. Poso gets a really nice wave. If you look at photos of Poso surfing when there's no wind, the wave is actually really nice. So you don't need to change the bottom. Let's Poso surfing Gran Canaria. So I wonder if we can find a picture. Let's see if we can find a picture. Surfing in Poso, Gran Canaria. So this looks like Poso in the background. Look, this is Poso. This is what Poso looks like if there's no wind. So you can see that it's a nice wave. Look at that beautiful wave. I mean, it's not the best wave in the world, but it's not a bad wave, is the point I'm trying to make. The problem why Poso normally doesn't get waves, even though it's blowing 3-3 weather, is because the wind is very local wind. It doesn't have enough fetch. So fetch is the distance that the wind travels across the water, and that's a very important factor in creating waves because it's transferring that wind energy into ocean energy, which are waves. And this wind in Gran Canaria can be very local, and so that's why it can blow 3-3, but there's no waves. Whereas in other places it blows 4-5. Eric asked if that was Salinas. I think that was Poso. Salinas can also be a good wave, but Poso is a good right as well if you have swell. I think it wants, I think South swell. All right, Ragnar saying check out Coster's bail at 846. Yes, sir. Let's check it out. Coster's bail. All right, so this is in the final. Wow, look at that. Brasinho. Push loop forward. All right. Wow. Huge. Brasinho is so talented. All right, here's Coster. All right, so Ragnar, is this it? Wow, it's so windy. Oh my god. Pooey. All right, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. So here we're watching it. Okay, this is insane, insane wind. Okay, like it's windy. But then watch. So then he comes off the wave and there's a gust. We can see the gust here forming, traveling down. Look at this. Like you can see here, you can see a bit of rainbow and here the spray. So there's a gust that's starting to hit. Look at the spray. Look at the spray coming off these waves. This is a crazy gust. Oh my god. Look at that. So he's going for what looks like a double. Oh, and he's already let go. It's just too windy. It's just too windy. And he has no hands on the boom, both feet in the straps, which is a position you never want to be in. Oh my God, look how fast it's all flipping. Oh, it's amazing that he got out of the straps. It's amazing that he got out of the straps. Wow, look how far his gear flew. That is a bail and a half. Look at that. Wow, they've even got a slow motion. Look at this. Wow. Yeah, he did well to come out of the straps there. Let's watch that again. It's just a crazy, crazy gust. Crazy. There's no one that has as much control as Coster. But he just can't control it. The gust is too strong. Whoa, look at that. Gets the front foot out, gets the back foot out. Wow. Wild. That is wild. Brauzinho out there alone. Phillips struggling on the bunker. Holy moly. That looks terrible. The heat's basically done for him at this point. Wow. What a crash. I'm surprised he didn't just swim right in and get his backup gear. So this was the final that Coster lost. So with the double elimination format, everyone is allowed to win once. Everyone is allowed to lose once. You need to lose twice to be eliminated. And so Coster had no losses in the single. Brauzinho lost to Coster in the single. Now the double, they're going head to head, and Brauzinho beat him in this heat. But then Coster comes into the next heat and stomps it out. We're going to watch that next heat too. Why not? The final is always good to watch. Though I feel like Philip, I think he's the best here by a lot. But there's not that much actually to learn watching his wave riding because he's so good that he can win events without being on the best waves and sometimes without being in the best position on the wave, but he'll do the craziest tricks and he can just make it happen. So it's interesting, even though he's so good. I think watching him for trying to learn how to wave ride in Poso can be a mistake because he's just so good that he doesn't have to play by the rules that everyone else has to play by to get scores, to get good scores. All right, let's see. So Coster is pretty down in terms of the points here. We might want to just skip to the super final. Wow, it's so windy. So windy. It's insane. If there's another heat with really good wave riding, let me know and we'll skip to it. Give me a time code. I mean, these are big guys. Brauzinho and Coster are not tiny. I don't know how much Coster weighs now, but 95 kilos. I mean, it's nice. And he's not a tiny guy. He's on a tiny sail here. Brasinho as well. Wow, look at that. Boom. All right, let's skip to the other final. All right, let's go to the beginning of this final. And then if there's a heat with really good wave riding that you guys want to watch, let me know. We'll watch it together. Otherwise, let's watch this final from the beginning. Come on. There we go. All right, they're getting ready. So the strategy with Poso is you go way upwind here before your heat, and then you go bang, screaming downwind to get a jump, because you want to start your heat with a jump, fill up your jump scorecard, and then work on the wave rides, because the wave rides can pull you downwind, and it's a lot harder to jump if that happens. All right, camera's on Philip. Let's see what he can do. Wow. Perfect, massive push forward. I hope that got a 10. I hope that got a 10. That is a very deserved. Wow, Brasinho. All right, Philip's going for his second jump. You can see he's trying to get both the good jumps in before doing the wave rides, which in conditions like this, probably most conditions, is a good strategy if you're sailing in competitions. Doesn't matter if it's pros or amateurs, masters, whatever it is, because often wave rides will pull you downwind, and for jumps, you want to be upwind, and that gives you the speed and the ability to choose what ramp you want, because you can scoot downwind if you need to. All right, what are we seeing here? So he did get a 10 for that, thankfully. All right, here he's going for his second jump. Hard to find the ramps. It can be blowing insane like this. Wow. Just a big floaty jump from Brasinho down there in the little corner. See, Philip is not even riding this wave because he just wants to get his 2 jumps in the bag before he even thinks about wave riding. Whoa, look at that. He definitely wanted a double, but didn't get the height. Beautiful planing forward, though. Brasinho wants something. Stalled double, but just too windy. Brings it back around. Ooh. So we got a question from Arthur about cheese rolls. Why do we not see cheese rolls? I don't know. Cheese rolls don't score super high, even though I think radical cheese rolls look amazing, like the ones that Luke Siver does. I like cheese rolls, and I do cheese rolls myself. But yeah, I don't know. Cheese rolls, I think, are better to do, at least the ones with height, with more of a wave and less of a wind. So you're using the ramp to get the height rather than the wind. So places like Poso, a lot of places that shaped the competition, the World Tour, like Poso, Tenerife, are not the best places for doing big cheese rolls. Somewhere like Maui is pretty good. Luke Siver does insane cheese rolls there. Super high, tweaked out. But I think that's because the waves help with the height. Wow, Brasinho. Wow, huge double from Philip in the other screen. I don't know if you guys saw that. It might have been hidden from view. But they should show a replay of that. Here we go. Boom. Not even that high, but just so confident in his rotation. And now he's got 2 jumps. He's probably going to go for some wave rides. Brasinho with a push forward, but it's wet. Philip looking for something. Good 360. I like that he goes front side into front side. Not many people do that in Gran Canaria. They go front side, then they hook in again and go backside, just sailing along. And then they do another turn and then they hook in again. And it ruins the flow. And so better is to go front side into backside, into front side. But Philip here going front side into front side is, I think, the holy grail for wave riding in Gran Canaria and Poso like this. So Arthur's saying that it seems like every sailor is able to do 5 tricks, like a 360, an air shaka. Yeah, definitely not every rider. I would say the top riders can do goiters, takas, 360s, backside 360s, which you're calling um, the air shakas. And that's maybe it for the main tricks. It's just 4 tricks on the wave. But a lot of the fleet can't even do goiters. So the tricks are pretty hard. I would say most people can probably do takas and backside 360s. Um, well, I love doing backside turns like that. I gotta go back again and we gotta look at that. So this is something we don't see a lot of in Gran Canaria, but it's just beautiful bottom turning up and doing a nice top turn backside. It's very shallow where he is. Very shallow. Yeah, so you can see like Brasinho trying to do a very similar maneuver, but can't go rail to rail like Coster did. Right, so he does a bottom turn, but then gets stuck and can't go into that backside cutback rail. All right, Brasinho's looking for another jump. Oof. Coster, one hand goiter in front of the judges and going front side to front side. Love to see it. Small wave. So I don't know how that will count. Whoa, Brasinho crashing again. Gnarly. So windy. All right, here's Coster. Bottom turning. 360. Nice 360. Can you back it up with something? Little upwind turn. Yeah, Coster's dominating. All right, Ragnar says to check Marino Gill versus Pare 733. Let's check that out. Here's Marino Gill versus Pare. Both younger guys. Brasinho is my age. Coster's a little bit younger than we are. And these guys are a generation younger than that. They're like in their early mid 20s. Wow, Mark crashing on a push loop. Yeah, here the waves are better. Ragnar is noticing that Coster was more upwind while Brasinho was more on the bunker. All right. Look at the speed they've got. Marino is flying. Flying. You can see how he's absorbing all of the chop and waves with his legs so that the board doesn't come off the water more than it has to. Looking for that ramp. There is a ramp. Oh my God, look at that thing. Oh, just a back loop, but it's a crazy, crazy good back loop. You know, we get so desensitized watching all of these push forwards and stalled doubles. Oh my God, that's insane. Look at that crash. Whoa, ouch. That's how you break your leg. All right, Mark going for a wave ride. Oh, but it's not really setting up. Woof. Good projection, but couldn't stick the landing. That's the thing with the goiters. You know, you see the videos of us on Instagram and we're banging them out, but in real life, you don't bang out every single one. The camera's having a hard time. It's so windy. Look at this. Oh. All right, he wants it. He wants it. Whoa, look at that huge push forward. Really nice rotation. Look at that beautiful forward rotation after the push loop. Lots of control. Okay. 360 off the back. Doesn't count. If it's off the back, it doesn't count. No points. They're having a hard time with points in this heat. It's halfway through and they've got about 5 points each. It's going to change with the push forward. All right. Here's a wave. That's a good section. Goiter section. Yeah, that was solid. The last year that I was sailing in Poso, they weren't scoring goiters very well. I think there were 2 goiters done in the event. I did one and someone else did one, and they gave them like under 5s. But this year it looked like they were scoring better. Arthur, nice to have you here. Nice to have you here live. Oh, look at this. That's a pretty solid double from Marino. I want a good wave riding heat. What's a really good wave riding heat? Someone give me a time code. Another time code. This heat, we're like almost 10 minutes into the heat, and the guys are struggling. Struggling. Let's just pick a random moment. Oh, not an ad. Capello versus Dunkerbeck. Let's watch one of the 4-man heats. Yeah. All right. Here's one of the 4-man heats. Stillrich, Mauch. Whoa, look at that back loop. That was from Alessio. Look at that back loop. Look how much he's traveling. That's a crazy back loop. H is saying no wave riding in Poso. Yeah, kind of. But no, I love Poso wave riding. And that's what I'm going to be teaching in my masterclass. So to bring it back to Windsurfing Masterclass, if you want to join the Poso Gran Canaria, it's not just Poso, Gran Canaria Masterclass, go to windsurfingmasterclass.com, go to apply here, go to the Gran Canaria application. We've got 3 spaces left. Woof, look at these. Look at these guys struggling in the wind. You can see when the gusts hit them. Yeah, this kind of wind is wild. You can see Ricardo is struggling with his sail. Look at that. It's like riding a bucking bronco. Riding a bull. Here's Alessio. I love that backloop. That was an awesome backloop that he did. High, soaring, flying in terms of distance. um, Look at this. Look at this. Oh, and Moritz on the little screen. Oh, look, Alessio is flying. Look how fast he's going. Whew. Oh, ouch. And Ricardo going down. Those are some heavy crashes. Look at that. Oh, so tweaked out. And Ricardo, he's just got so much wind. Here, Moritz. Is he on a wave? Ricardo did something. All right, let's see if we can catch this wave from Moritz. There's a double from Ricardo. Moritz on a 360. Not the best 360, but landed. Is he going to add more to this wave? Yeah, nice backside. Here's Alessio cheating out at Taka. All right, let's watch the beginning of that. This is Friedel Morales. Good event for him. This is his best result ever. And he was sailing really well. I was really impressed with his performance. Really, really impressed. All right, here's another wave from Ricardo. Some good backside action. Look at that. Bang. Look at this. Interesting that Mauk is in the lead with 0 on the jump score, but just his waves are counting so high. Oh, look at that beautiful tweak. Oh, hard landing though. Beautiful tweak, but just landing so hard. Oh, that was a good 360 from Mauk. I don't know if you guys saw that. And then going into another frontside. Boom. Beautiful. I like how tight those turns are. Could squeeze in a backside there. Come on, Moritz. Get your backsides in. Or he's changing something. H is saying that backside airs look sick in Poso before the bottom turn. I totally agree. I think that doing a hard backside turn, a backside air, or a forward off the lip backside into frontside looks so good in Poso. There's something about that flow of doing the maneuver and then landing straight into that frontside bottom turn. 100% agree. Little spin loop. Campello in last place here. But the scores are not very high, right? We're looking at 12s in this heat. In other heats, we're over 40. I mean, over 30. Sorry, excuse me. It's out of 40. Ragnar put in a time code from yesterday. We'll watch that, but so thank you, Ragnar. I'll write that down, but probably not today because now we're coming to the end of our live stream time. But I'll do it either next weekend or maybe this week. You know, if other people have different time codes that we want to watch together or talk about, then we can do it together. Nice. Was that a 1 foot or one hand back loop? Oh, Ricardo. Ooh, struggling. Moritz. Yeah, the scores are a little higher now, but they're still pretty low. So that means when the scores are low, that if you have one big move, one big jump, one big wave, you can turn the whole heat. Wow, that gust is so strong that he can't even hold on. He can't even sail straight. Look at that. It's so windy. Yeah, it's so windy. 1 foot back loop. Backside turn. Nice. All right. Oh, Alessio going for something. Ricardo's got a ramp. Oh, push loop forward. Does he land it? Yes, he does land it. So that'll change his jumping. I mean, he only has an 8 for his 2 jumping scores here. So he's going to probably jump into the lead with this. Moritz and Morales are very close. Moritz is switching sails again. Ricardo throwing a tabletop off the lip. Those look stylish. Into a taka. He's turning it around. I mean, it's a tiny, tiny wave, but he's turning it around. He's in first in the heat now. Ooh, nice. Nice back loop. So H is asking if I believe in sails being better suited for bigger or lighter riders. Oh my god, endo forward. Oh, Alessio, beautiful backside 360. Oh, I love seeing those. Beautiful. That was a nice wave. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I think that there are sails that work for everyone, and then there's some sails that are better for heavier riders. So, for example, in the sails that I helped design, we have different wave sails in the range at Ezzy, right? There's the Ezzy Wave, which I think works for 95% of people, but we also have the Zeta, which is a 5 batten sail, and it is more of a locked in, easy to get going power. And so for someone who's on the heavier side, that might feel easier because it's easier to get going. I'm not very light, I'm around 88, 90 kilos, and I still prefer the maneuverability benefits of the Ezzy Wave. But I understand why someone who's heavier would want to be on the Zeta. And in fact, I like being on the Zeta 5.5 in lightweight in competitions because it just has a little bit more get up and go, locked in power. And so I like that competing. But yeah, so I think yes, but also it's subtle. And there's some sails that work great for both. There are other sails that exist, like maybe S2, and they're super flat. And for someone who's on the heavier side, if they don't have the ability to be very efficient with the wind, that sail is going to be more difficult than a different kind of sail, because the sail is just so flat. But some of those things, if you have maybe the efficient sailing technique, then it just doesn't matter. So that's kind of a wishy-washy answer, but I think in most cases it doesn't matter that much, but in some cases it does. But also ability is a factor. So H, you're on the KS3, so that's a 3 batten sail, right? And that would be, I don't know. But again, like, it's not a matter of battens; it's specific to how the sail is shaped. So I'm not sure how that sail is shaped, in terms of how easy it is to get planing. All right, that's it for the Poso footage for today. If there are time codes that you guys want to watch, then let's watch them. Why not? I'm into it. I just noticed that our date is wrong on this. Let me update the date. July 6th, update all. All right. Yeah, so H is saying that he's 97 kilos on the KS3. Try some other sails and see if it feels better or worse or different. Um, yeah, but yeah, I don't think it's gonna be I don't expect it to be a huge difference. And also then, like I said, ability is also a factor there, like um, ability for efficient sailing, which isn't always the same as wave riding ability. All right, I am teaching a masterclass in Gran Canaria where we were just watching that footage, but we're not going just to Poso. There are other great spots there as well. You can go to windsurfingmasterclass.com, scroll down to in-person masterclass experience, apply here, and then scroll down to Gran Canaria wave sailing masterclass, apply here. There's an application. All the information about the masterclass is also in this part. And yeah, we've got a few spots left. If you're interested, if you want more information, write me an email, let me know. I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a really good week full of intense windsurfing and learning. Alrighty, that's it. I'm going to sign off. I hope you guys have a windy week, and I'll see you next week, Sunday.